Hello, thank you for downloading. This is Daryl.
And Taylor.
With a preamble before you get to today's thumbs up, thumbs down weekend review. We can promise there's quite a lot of Americans abroad in there. There's Weston McKennie, there's Jonathan Gonzalez, there's even DeAndre Yedlin. So please keep listening if you want to feel a little better about the future of American soccer. You're laughing, but, you know, there was good news this weekend.
I just look forward to the day where we don't have to reassure American fans on most shows.
You mean 2022?
Pretty much.
Today's show is brought to you by a new sponsor. The new sponsor, it's something we haven't done before.
Nope.
New sponsor is Enclosed. Enclosed. Taylor, why don't you tell people what Enclosed is?
They're a luxury gift service that delivers designer lingerie to your lady month after month.
So there you go. Why would we use this service, Taylor? We kind of talked about this off air a little bit before we started recording.
Me personally?
Yeah.
Because I'm still a 14-year-old boy. And so because on the few times that I have actually set foot inside of a lingerie store, I don't even like getting help when it comes to buying clothing for myself or buying products. When it comes to buying things that make me incredibly uncomfortable, as apparently these things do, I don't really want to have a stranger ask me, well, is she like this? Does she like that? Does she like this?
Yeah.
Enclosed handles all that for you.
Yeah, so you don't have to make the decisions yourself, but you can get your wife or significant other a romantic gift. And you just have to sort of make vague choices, right? You can select a size. If you're not sure, you can pick two sizes so you can get it roughly right. You select a style, or you can select two styles, and then Enclosed will do the rest. They guarantee they will get the right fit. If you go to enclosedlingerie.com and then you use the code SOCCER, you'll get $20 off the Enclosed subscription. And then Enclosed, with just a little information from yourself, will send a romantic gift to your significant other every month.
And buying things anonymously online, always less awkward than having to deal with an actual human.
That's just true for everything.
Pretty much.
Today's show also brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek, longtime sponsors of the Total Soccer Show. They make buying tickets to sporting events and musical performances and other types of entertainment easier than it's ever been.
Buying and selling,
yes. You can get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. If you download the SeatGeek app, you click the settings tab, you enter promo code TSS, you get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase.
My favorite thing is always from SeatGeek. They have the color guide to tell you if it's a good value or a bad value. That is genuinely very helpful when you're looking at possible shows.
So thank you to the Enclosed and thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's episode. Links will be in the show notes. Hello and welcome to the Total Soccer Show. My name is Daryl Grove. Sitting across the table from me, he's Pogback. He's Taylor Rockwell. Hello.
Hello. Your intros usually make me smile. That one a little bit more than usual.
So that was a pleasant surprise for you, Manchester United fan Taylor Rockwell, this weekend to see Paul Pogba back in the Man United lineup.
No, they'd announced, I think, the day before.
You anti-improving me?
Yes, I am. I don't know what to do there. I think they announced the day before that Pogba and Zlatan would both be in the squad. The expectation was that Pogba would go straight back into the lineup. So I was 90% confident that was going to happen. Still very excited when I saw him on the field.
All right, so we're going to do thumbs up, thumbs down today for our weekend review. I'm sure we'll get to Man United and Pogba.
Oh, we're doing 45 minutes up front.
But so, in all seriousness, I know you're excited about that, and it was a big 4-1 win over Newcastle United. There's a Newcastle United player we might want to talk about. But the big game of the weekend was in North London,
this
right?
Is true.
It was Arsenal hosting Spurs. So can we please start there?
I'd say bigger for some than others.
Yeah. Have you got any thumbs for that game?
Yeah, I'm going to say thumbs up to Daryl Grove for endorsing Lacazette early in the season.
Right?
Yep.
Why didn't Wenger listen?
I don't know. And you're right. Basically, you had strong opinions about him, strong feelings that he would do well with Arsenal. I think lately when he wasn't starting, we both were kind of curious why, as were most pundits out there. And I think he proved that he should be starting for them. He helped organize the press, lead the press, did a lot of the thankless work, got himself an assist, so at least he got a little bit of a statistical recognition.
Not so thankless because Spurs kept giving him the ball as a present.
Well, there's that.
So I really think the key to Arsenal winning this game, it really did start with that front three, right? Ozil, Sanchez and Lacazette were on Spurs. They were absolutely on them. I had in my notes that Lacazette basically charged down an Eric Dyer attempt to pass out of the back in like the 5th minute. So all of a sudden Tottenham were in trouble. They had to keep going long. And that's what they do to other teams. So they kind of out-Tottenham'd Tottenham.
Yeah. And
which normally you can't do, right? Normally you can't like play against a team and be like, we can do your tactics, but we're going to do them better and we're going to beat you at your own game.
Well, and the key thing here, to your point, and another thumbs up I had was thumbs up to the international break if you're an Arsenal fan, because it seems like Wenger stuck, because we saw them do the press in a couple games previously, most notably
tried against Man City,
and it did not go well. So to see them
Alexis Sanchez was waving people forward, but it wasn't always happening.
So to see them do it successfully in this game speaks to the work that was done in that break to try to get everybody on the same page, either right before they left or when they got back or when some players stuck around. But also I thought the interesting thing was, so you had them execute that press, but then you still had them play that sort of quote-unquote Arsenal way. So it was still really free-flowing, a lot of like 1- and 2-touch passing that was still very, very pretty. And there was a moment in there where I was like, oh boy, if Arsenal keep this one going, it's going to be difficult for teams.
Do you think we spend so much time sort of almost laughing at Arsene Wenger? You forget that he's actually good at his job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This game is an example of why he maybe deserves more respect than he gets.
Yeah, I mean, Pochettino, I wasn't even going to build... I was going to build fake drama, but that's not true. But he, like, chased down Pochettino before the game, like, just to, like, shake his hand and be like, hey, good luck to you today. And Pochettino was all, like, in game mode with furrow brow. And I was like, what? Oh, hello. Okay, yeah, let's hug. And then they went on their way.
So my other thumbs for this game... go to Arsenal's defenders, who also usually don't get enough credit, and usually because they're not doing so well. Remember the whole Troy Deeney thing where he just felt like he could bully Arsenal defenders. In this game, as we talked about, Arsenal forced Spurs to go long.
I know what you meant.
The guys that kept winning that ball were Laurent Koscielny and Mustafi. Apart from, I've actually got thumbs up to Mustafi and Koscielny for getting out of the quicksand. So I don't know if you saw the first few minutes. They went long and there were some mess-ups, right? Koscielny and Mustafi ran into each other at one point and let Harry Kane get free down the left. And it could have been this thing of like, oh no, we're in trouble, Harry Kane's going to dominate us. Laurent Koscielny especially really stepped up and just started winning everything. I mean, literally stepped up sometimes. He would step high, be aggressive, win the ball. And then obviously Mustafi scores the opening goal on that set piece.
It's not bad. That's not bad.
Not bad at all. But even the way they win that free kick, right? It's Davinson Sanchez brings down Alexis Sanchez. We can argue, and Spurs fans will argue about whether or not that was a foul, but that move starts when Mustafi wins a defensive header, heads it to, intentionally or not, Laurent Koscielny, who calmly plays it out of the back. So it starts and ends with Arsenal's centre-backs.
Yeah, and then I think they looked good. I think maybe by comparisons, Tottenham did not as much. So I'm going to say also thumbs up to Cameron Carter-Vickers for not being involved in this game, but looking good for Sheffield United. We'll hear more about that later when we get to scouting. But you look at Tottenham, they were without, I think, Vertonghen.
It was Toby Alderweireld.
They're both Belgian best friends, so I get them confused.
Well, it has that weird knock-on effect, right? So Davinson Sanchez was probably going to be in the lineup anyway, but it means that Eric Dyer has to come and play in the back three. Then you lose him in midfield. I think Victor Wanyama was out as well, so then it's Dembele and Sissoko, which is not always... I actually like Dembele, and I thought he was pretty good in this game, but that's not their first choice midfield. Do you mind if I backtrack just a second to make clear that I know Nacho Monreal was also in that back three?
He
just didn't do as much as Koscielny.
Just didn't want to give him any credit.
And Mustafi.
That's fine.
I was just imagining all the tweets, like, he played too. Right?
Fair. But yeah, so there was the Davinson Sanchez one, probably not his fault. I mean, yes, he gets whistled for the foul, probably shouldn't have been called. But even so, it's not Cameron Carter-Vickers out there fouling people. Maybe, but I do think there's a chance that, not because of this game, I'm being hyperbolic, for comedic purposes. But I do think that there's a chance that if he continues to do what he's doing with Sheffield United in terms of getting into the attack, proving that he can play with the ball at his feet, but also winning challenges, doing a good job defending.
I think you're reading a lot into that one assist and 45 minutes for the United States.
He has 2 assists this season. Thank you very much. Yeah. I'm just saying, I do feel like he could maybe give Pochettino something to think about if he doesn't want to go out and spend 40 or 50 million on a defender.
Which he already did, right? Wasn't Davinson Sanchez like 40 million?
He was not cheap, yes. So if he doesn't want to do that again, is my point. Maybe he thinks, I'll give this kid a chance.
And second goal, I think, as well as the first goal, this is the thing I had in my notes, both Arsenal goals were almost offside. Did you take a look at this? Like Mustafi, when the free kick comes in from...
He is offside. But
he is, right.
But I think it's the thing where the pundits I saw talking about this are like, oh, he's offside. And it's like, yes, he is.
But by a sliver, right?
Tie goes to the runner,
yeah,
I think, in that situation.
It's that thing where Mustafi's just leaning and he kind of makes Dyer go with him as the free... Is it Ozil serves the free... Yeah, because they're doing that clever thing where they have Ozil and Sanchez and you don't know if it's going to swing in or out, right? Yep. So that already puts Spurs like, what's happening? Dyer goes with him, which means that it's close enough that sort of the referees are just human. They're not Terminator models. They can't divine whether he's offside or not. So Mustafi gets the call.
There we go.
Goal goes to the runner. Goal goes to the runner. And then I think Lacazette is also offside. When that ball comes through from Bellerin.
I think like his arm is offside, but you can't use your arm.
Like his head might be as well.
Maybe. It's tight enough again. Yeah.
That's it. It's the same sort of thing where he's just skirting it so much that, maybe you could say that if you had some video review type thing, but just to a human eye, there's no way to get it right 100%.
Yeah, there were worse calls this weekend, so I think we're okay on that front.
All right, so lots of thumbs all round for Arsenal Football Club, especially. Did you know it was Tom Rosenhammer's birthday?
I did. Happy 44th, Tom.
Yeah. Oh, you know the number as well. All right, I wasn't going to say it, but fine. So Tom is heavily involved in RVA Gooners here in Richmond. Yep. So on his birthday weekend, a win in the North London Derby. That's a big success.
If there was anyone,
I'm sure they did it for Tom.
If there's anyone we know who would have a club win for him, I feel like Tom's love of Arsenal might actually necessitate that reaction from them. So maybe he's the one to blame for this turnaround.
And before we move on, it's worth noting,
credit rather, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, it depends who you support, right?
True.
It is worth noting that this kind of is Arsenal ruining the narrative. Right? Wasn't this whole thing of Spurs are in the ascendancy and they're going to be the best club in North London and this is the derby where it's going to be proven and then Arsenal out Tottenham.
Well, there we go. But I would add that there's a large percentage of the season still left to play.
That's true.
So we'll see how things go.
Right.
That said, I don't know how much the rest of the season will matter for Manchester City because at this point, I don't know if they're ever going to lose again.
Well, it's only November, right? It feels that way now, but it's only November. But this is 10 wins in a row?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're very good. Is what I have to say.
Hashtag analysis?
Yes, as Leicester found out this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm going to say thumbs up to start to Raheem Sterling, who is not a person that I tend to focus on, and I think maybe gets sort of lost in the shuffle with Man City because there are just so many good players on this team.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think that maybe part of it is that he's English for me. And so, whereas I think a lot of times we focus on the English players because you're English and, the English media are looking at the national team. But I think with Man City, you have so many huge names there that it can be oh, yeah, and Raheem Sterling's there too.
Yeah.
And in this game, you occasionally get these moments of oh, right, he's actually very good. And he has I think the assist for the assist, he plays in David Silva for the first goal. David Silva squares to Gabriel Jesus, I think it is.
Okay.
But it's a beautiful little, clipped, not quite chipped, but not quite passed through ball that splits 3 defenders that nobody has any business playing, but he spots it and just kind of knows, I think from familiarity, David Silva's going to continue that run. He's going to change his angle at the last second. If I put it there, he'll be there. That's exactly what happens.
I kind of remember when Sterling was making that move from Liverpool to Man City, and he kind of agitated for the move and caused some trouble on the way. I remember thinking, this isn't going to work out for you, Raheem, because I think he'd been a little bit out of form for Liverpool, and I kind of thought maybe he would get overshadowed by some big names coming in at Manchester City. So I think I basically just want to say, I was wrong, and Raheem Sterling has absolutely upped his game to fit in with a Pep Guardiola-style team, and he really looks the business right now, and he's got me excited for summer 2018 for England.
Yep. I mean, I think that's a fair feeling to have, and especially because so many players in this City team look pretty solid.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, I'm going to say thumbs up, though, to the overall team in terms of their modern approach to defending corners.
What does that mean?
So this is something we've talked about before, that teams are starting to use defending corners as a way to spring attacks.
Oh, yeah, I saw this on Twitter. Oh, I'm sorry, I've forgotten who tweeted it, but I retweeted it.
But basically, if you pull everybody back into the box, it invites the opposition to send more players in to attack that corner.
Yeah.
But we know statistically, I think only 1 in 8 corners leads to a shot on target. So there's less likelihood that you're going to score, but if you commit numbers forward, if you're a team that can break fast, as Manchester City clearly can, you will score goals, and that is what the Kevin De Bruyne smash goal comes from.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
It comes from a Leicester corner that then I think it's Leroy Sané on his horse. Takes that ball, gets it back, goes down that field, plays it in. Kevin De Bruyne does things.
So my understanding of this is that all the Man City attackers are kind of waiting on their horses in the defensive third, ready to clear that corner and then go. Then all their horses go, and then suddenly the other team is absolutely overwhelmed. And you're probably at your most, if you're a team that especially sends your centre-backs forward, you're at your most vulnerable when you've got an attacking corner because you've got maybe you're not best defender's back defender.
Or your shortest players, as the case tends to be. So that could be a fullback, it could be a forward, it could be a midfielder, and suddenly you've got one Mata trying to defend 3 attackers. Not going to go that well. So, and that's what happens. So then you've kind of got players who aren't maybe your most reliable defenders trying to shut down a 3v2 counterattack, and neither one of them
or more. I feel like Man City get more numbers than
almost certainly they do, but then you don't have the players knowing exactly who needs to step and when and how to track and how to
panic, right? Yeah. It's like, let's just do what we can in the moment.
And in this situation, it works because then everybody focuses on the runs into that 6-yard box. Leroy Sané does not. He finds Kevin De Bruyne at the top of the box. Then Kevin De Bruyne does Kevin De Bruyne things.
I've got thumbs up to Kevin De Bruyne for making that noise. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen the same footage?
Oh, wait, no. What noise are you referring to?
It's whatever the noise is when you hit a certain part of the goal hard enough.
That's what I thought you were talking to. Yes.
I think you might have hit the mic, or the mic is very near the sort of the metal at the back of the net, but there's that sound.
That's what I thought you meant for a second. And then I was like, wait, did he make a weird noise too?
He made that noise happen.
Yeah, when you hit the ball that hard, it is that fink, done.
Yeah, it's definitely a very specific noise. I'm sure it's kind of a coincidence or a bit of luck or whatever, but whenever I hear that noise, I know someone has struck a ball very, very sweetly.
I'll say I think it maybe is...
It's the KDB noise.
It is. And I think it's also the camera noise, only because on the 4th replay of this goal, he hits it so hard that they have the camera's in the goal. Yeah. That one just goes straight up in the air. Because I think he hits it so hard that it gets pulled back.
Maybe that's the ball hitting the camera.
Yeah, possibly. Or it's like the camera pulling back and hitting metal at some point. I don't know. But either way, I'm with you that the force of his shot from about, 20 yards out into the back of the net definitely made some weird sounds.
And can we have some respect for how he made that space? Because I think it comes to him and he kind of puts his right foot on it. Mark Albrighton, the Leicester, I guess he was attacking midfielder, but he was in front of De Bruyne. Really buys that this guy's going right-footed, and then De Bruyne just very quickly, I think outside of the left foot, clips it to the left. Suddenly he's opened up all this space, and then hits the camera.
Efficiency of movement is what I would say. It's only 3 touches, but that's all it takes to get the ball in the back of the net. My final note on this one is going to be thumbs down, though, to the referee for caring about what time it is, because I firmly believe that Vincent Kompany in the 2nd minute takes down Jamie Vardy. I
saw this,
and the referee stops it dead, calls the foul, gives Kompany a yellow card. I guess the argument would be that maybe he thought, I almost said Wayne Bridge. That would not be true.
John
Stones. No, he thought that John Stones was there to cover, maybe. But John Stones was on the other side of the two. So basically, I don't think there's any way he's getting back. But I think maybe that's why the referee thought maybe it's a yellow instead of a red. Yeah. But I also think... And we're 2 minutes into this game. I don't want to hand out a red right away. Might have maybe factored into it a little bit. Even if Scott Zawadzki would say that never factors into it.
Here's the thing. Vincent Kompany, if you've ever heard him speak, is sort of very mild-mannered and eloquent.
Oh, he's going into politics, for sure.
But I feel like maybe this is kind of what
That's not a joke, by the way. I think he is actually going to run for elected office in Belgium. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you remember we talked to Scott about when there's a marginal call and it's maybe 50-50, that you may get the benefit of the doubt if you're a player who's kind of polite to referee? Did he definitely say this? I just imagine this.
He said it, yes, in that way, but also the other thing, which I think you're right, Vincent Kompany did, and it is a thing, if people don't know, it is something you should do. If you have fouled somebody, hopefully accidentally, make that clear. So you stop, you check, are you okay? You help them back up, you try to help them back up. Yes, because then that's what he was saying, is that then I know, you're not just a jerk, you actually feel bad about what you did, or at least you're showing that you feel bad about it.
Yeah, because then it's more just clumsy than anything else, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and I think you can... Manipulate is the wrong word, but you can affect the margins of what the decision in terms of cards or foul or whatever is going to be if you do all the good guy things after you've done the bad guy thing.
There's
so
maybe
maybe thumbs up to Vincent Kompany for his reputation preceding him and getting away with that tackle.
Yeah, but there's definitely a line, because then if you went up to him and you're like, "Oh, sir, I'm very sorry. I just lost my footing. I know I shouldn't have made that challenge." If I'm a ref, I'm like, "All right, well, he's admitting he gets a red card." So I feel like you do have to know exactly how to say a thing where it's like, "Oh, my bad, but not my bad." Yeah. But I'm polite. We're friends, right? Give me a yellow, please. Let me play this game.
Well, the marginal thing here would have been the John Stones thing you're talking about, right? Because the referee's thinking maybe Stones would have got there, maybe he wouldn't. Is it denial of goal scoring opportunity or not? And
I think a lot of that is based on if John Stones were as fast as like DeAndre Yedlin maybe, and he is not, and that was exhibited definitively by when he pulled his hamstring. So that maybe shows.
Stones did?
Yeah, he went out with injury in this one. Mangala came in.
Will he be back for June 2018?
I would say so. I think you're
I will
okay
say, so we didn't really talk England friendlies, right? I watched England-Germany, a bit of England-Brazil. There was a lot of John Stones in the back, forcing England to play out of the back, and it just had a little bit of the Manchester City about it. Not as good a version, obviously, because it's like Harry Maguire's back there instead.
Yeah.
But it did look like John Stones is becoming a guy who can lead from the back and sort of command a team or set an example for a team that's trying to pass out of the back.
And speaking of...
So Pep Guardiola, thumbs up for what you're doing for the England team.
I'm saying thumbs down to Pep Guardiola.
Why?
Because
giving me false hope?
I am terrified. That's why. Because did you see him react to Kevin De Bruyne's goal? It was this like mad smile and nod, like, yes, they're doing it. And it really was like, oh no. When he is happy, that is frightening. Because it means...
He's famously annoyed about
so it means that they are doing exactly what he wants, playing exactly how he wants, executing his game plan perfectly. So then he does the big smile, big nod, and it makes me think, uh-oh, because I'm not a Man City fan, and I think the rest of the league should be worried.
Would you say that right now Manchester City are looking pretty great?
Sure.
I only just realised that wasn't working as I got halfway through it. But today's show...
I think the faint in the background is perfect.
Today's show is brought to you by Greats. Greats is Brooklyn's first sneaker company. They were an advertiser maybe a month ago. You would have heard of them. They sell great classic styles that are made in Italy, sold in Brooklyn, are for men's and women's styles. Taylor and I have both. I haven't looked under the table. I saw a flash of white when I came in. Are you wearing yours right now?
I am indeed, with my blue and white and red striped socks. So it looks very
nice.
Cat in the Hat, but I love it.
Fancy.
And I love my Greats. They are indeed a perfect gift for the holidays. I would echo that sentiment. Daryl has just checked my shoes.
Yeah, you're keeping them nice and clean as well.
I try.
Yeah.
I try. I feel like I have an obligation, especially because I think they're nice and leathery, and I don't want to ruin them right away, as I want to do when it comes to shoes.
So they are very nicely made. Mine, I don't think I've ever had sneakers that were leather on the interior before as well. I
think I said leathery because like I'm just not used to wearing shoes that are actual leather. So to be wearing them like double leather, it's a very fun and strange feeling.
So we always like to do something with our ads, right? And so Greats are made in Italy. And I think you had a tweet earlier today about all the US players who started in like the Premier League, in Germany. Shaq Moore played in Spain. Keaton Parks came on in Portugal. The only nation where we didn't have a player in the top flight, as I understand it, was Italy.
Yes.
Right? So we want to know, or we want to ask each other, what US player could become one of the greats by having their career made in Italy, just like Greats sneakers?
And we had somebody tweet us a suggestion, and I apologize.
Andrew Carlton?
I'll apologize for me for not remembering something from Twitter, but yes, I think Andrew Carlton could be very good. I think he's got the technical ability and the read of the game. He's also not
scared if he went there right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, anyone going there right now, but he's also on the smaller side, and Italy, I think it's a little bit more about the technical aspect of the game, the tactical aspect, than it is, I'm going to knock you off the ball because you're littler than me.
Yeah,
certainly that's a part of it, as it always will be in soccer, but I do think that could help him like enhance his technical game.
I think I'm going to go Tyler Adams.
Ooh.
Get Tyler Adams over to Italy and really rough up some midfield.
Okay, so you're going the opposite route.
Yeah, go on, Tyler. He'd just be a force of nature that suddenly Serie A hadn't seen before.
You brutish American.
And at some point we'll have Tyler versus Daniele De Rossi, unless he joins Roma.
Yeah. At some point, I think is going to need to be in the near future.
Anyone else who could make it there? I'm thinking like, say, Bobby Wood. If it's not working out at Hamburg, I don't feel like Italy is a good fit for Bobby Wood.
You've taken us down a hole here that you might regret.
Chris Durkin maybe in the future?
I mean, that's a solid shout because he's got like the defensive side of his game, but can contribute to the attack. So yeah. I was about to say Daniele De Rossi-esque, but that feels a little bit like blasphemy. So I don't want to go that far.
There
quite
can be
yet.
only one.
Yes, I think so.
He's the Highlander.
Yeah, yes. Well, if any of the players we mentioned, or just listeners out there, or anyone in general, is interested in picking up some solid footwear, they can do so from Greats, and they can do so with a 15% discount on their first purchase using the code TOTALSoccerShow. That's all one word, all lowercase.
That's for 15% off Greats sneakers. It is just in time for the holidays. For yourself, maybe get yourself a gift or a gift for a loved one. Greats sneakers.
There we go. So that will be a link to that will be in the show notes. Thank you to Greats for sponsoring today's show. So we've done 2 games so far, Daryl Grove. Where would you like to go next?
Okay, we've gone big so far.
We have.
Let's go even bigger because Man United got the tall boys back.
Oh.
Paul Pogba and Zlatan.
Oh, you meant literally bigger. Gotcha.
We're both back. The giants of the Premier League.
Did you see who they subbed in? Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Marouane Fellaini. Yeah. That did not seem fair.
Mourinho's really into this tall boy thing.
They were very tall.
Do you think he watched Master of None and was like, oh, I should get on that app and find as many midfielders as I can?
Yes, I'm sure that's exactly what happened. But yeah, as you said, Man United, excuse me.
It's a niche joke.
I wasn't going to comment on it, but yeah. It's a little bit in there, yeah.
All right, so
Manchester United 4-1,
Yep.
but Newcastle jumped out to the lead, which I did not necessarily love. So I'm going to say thumbs down to DeAndre Yedlin for making me grudgingly nod with appreciation.
I've got thumbs up to Victor Lindelof for helping DeAndre Yedlin get an assist.
Oh, that's interesting. You're wrong.
Because he does. Yedlin accelerates, overlaps down the wing, like plays a cutback pass, but I'm pretty sure it was going to be cut out by Lindelof until he loses his footing, and then Dwight Gale steps up and manages to get on the end of it.
All right, you're forcing me into a position where I'm going to praise a guy who got the assist against Manchester United, but I guess part of that is because I'm refusing to blame Victor Lindelof for this one, because I want to say the reason why
I would win at Debate Club.
You would not in this one, because the reason why I nod with appreciation is because everything about this goal is because of DeAndre Yedlin. So first of all, he as you said, he makes that overlap, but it's because he spots the opportunity, he spots the vulnerability in the way United basically their shape in that moment. So he has the awareness to get forward quickly. He has the touch to take a difficult ball down the line. His first touch really sets himself up to continue on.
And that's the thing I've always worried about with Yedlin. I keep being impressed. Every time I see him, he's better than I remember. I'm super excited about Yedlin right now.
And I think here... So
he's going to win the CONCACAF Nations League.
Obviously. So I'm with you on the touch part, but then, like, obviously we saw the speed to accelerate away. But this is the part that I thought was... This is the part that I didn't necessarily know was there. It was the awareness to know where to play that ball, and I think the ability to do so, because he's, like, going away, and I think it would be really easy at full speed just to drive that one across the box.
Or to just try and chip it to the far post, maybe.
Yeah, but I think Lindelof anticipates a driven ball across the front of goal, and that's why he is overcommitting to the near post. He's trying to get
close the corridor of uncertainty.
I think
that's
so,
what he's trying to do.
And I think Yedlin spots that and thus plays it back towards the penalty area where Dwight Gale is there to finish it. So I think that's really good awareness from DeAndre Yedlin and ability to back up that awareness.
So you think Yedlin made Lindelof fall over, essentially, with that cutback?
I think Lindelof made himself fall over. But yes, I think DeAndre Yedlin was the salesman that sold him a false bill of goods.
Well done to DeAndre Yedlin.
Yeah.
But thumbs down to Juan Mata and Anthony Martial for pulling a switcheroo on DeAndre Yedlin for what I believe was Man United's equaliser. Have you seen this?
Yes.
You saw this, of course. So it's a Paul Pogba cross, which maybe we can talk about the Pogba cross, because that might be the most impressive part of this.
It's called a Pog cross.
A Pog cross. But he crosses it to the back post. And DeAndre Yedlin ends up being out-jumped by Anthony Martial, right? But I wound it back, and what I saw was Yedlin originally marking Juan Mata. Martial sneaks in, and they kind of switch places like an old-fashioned magic trick. And you see Juan Mata like just walk backwards and like gesture Martial in there, because Mata's pretty small, right? And Martial's 6 foot.
I already take issue with something here. I don't mean to interrupt, but what'd you say it was? An old-fashioned...
Magic trick?
You mean a magic illusion.
Oh, no. Our Arrested Development show is, what, in a week or two?
We both know what a trick is, Daryl.
But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Mata and Yedlin, that's a fair competition in the air, right? Yedlin's 5'8", I think. But when they sneak Martial in, and suddenly I really think Yedlin doesn't know that they've switched. Yeah. And suddenly there's a much taller man jumping with him and beats him in the air, scores the header, scores the equaliser.
A man slightly more known for his aerial ability since Juan
Mata.
Juan Mata, yeah. I'm sure he scored a few headed goals in his career, but not many.
So maybe it's thumbs up to Juan Mata for having this sort of humility to recognise, this guy's got a much better chance.
That's kind of his style, I think. But I do want to say, also to your point, that all comes from Paul Pogba, because he gets the ball out wide, does a lot of like not dancing, not quite like does a bunch of moves, but he kind of gets a bunch of touches on the ball. Then he has that sort of just like no follow through, like lobbed chip into the mixing bowl that then gets headed home by Anthony Martial. But I think if you go back and watch that, as I did about 40 times because I loved it, it's Pogba like being in complete control of the ball so that he can just see what the defender's doing. Because nothing he
lots
does...
of tiny movements of the ball, right?
Nothing he does is particularly like, oh, it's a double step over and the guy bit on it so hard. It's just like, oh, here's a little touch, here's a little touch, here's a little touch. But he knows exactly when he's got the defender maybe shifting the wrong way or the momentum's going the wrong way, and then he just continues on.
I think of it as loosening the jar. Like all those touches like to the left and the right and back and forth. I can't remember who the defender is.
I think the metaphor there would be boxing, that you're like setting him up for like the big punch, the knockout blow. So you're sort of like jab, 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 like you kind of get him moving.
But I'm choosing my metaphor. I'm choosing loosening the jar. You're just going left and right, and eventually you can just pop it open, and that's when you put the cross in.
Sure. I go boxing, but yeah.
Anything else from this game?
Oh yeah, I'm going to say yeah, of course. I'm going to say thumbs up to Marcus Rashford. We've talked a lot about DeAndre Yedlin. I'm going to say thumbs up to Marcus Rashford for reminding us all that he is also fast. Because for United's third goal, Pogba's goal, it basically is a counterattack from United. It starts with Pogba playing it. I mean, it doesn't start there, but Pogba plays, I think, like a 60-yard ball into the channel. And if you watch, the rest of the United midfield are kind of slowly going forward. Marcus Rashford eclipses them. It is a 70-yard bursting run from him.
Is this a Lukaku cross he's on the end
Yes,
of? Yeah.
And then he recycles his run because the ball doesn't come right away, and it's a perfectly cushioned header that Paul Pogba finishes.
Can we talk about the serenity of Paul Pogba's finish? Like he comes striding into that far post and finishes, I think, just side-footed.
Underneath the goalkeeper, yep.
Underneath the goalkeeper. And there's just something very weirdly calm about it. Like he knew he was going to score.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a lot of players, this is like at an amateur level, there's a lot of players, some of whom may be listening right now, who I've seen sort of in the 6-yard box, just try and hit it as hard as they can and they end up skying it or missing it or whatever. There was something about how certain Paul Pogba was that he could just stride up and score that I found almost scary, especially if I'm a Newcastle fan.
Yeah. And to that point, I watched. It's what we were talking about, I think, with the kind of moves to set the boxing pickle jar analogy. But it's also Match of the Day talked about this a little bit. Just jar analogy. Yeah. Oh yeah, of course you don't like pickles.
Let's say peanut butter.
That's fine. It's getting weirder and weirder. Anyway, but they were talking about like one of his like just like abilities that is better than anybody else's is just his ability to spot a pass and play it, and he's just like has that supreme confidence of like they highlighted one where he gets the ball for throw in. Like, and just turns, like, lets the ball roll past him, turns and hits a bouncing ball with the outside of his foot, like a 70-yard ball into the feet of another player. Like, he just has that, like, belief and ability, and I think that's maybe what that confidence was that you saw, was sort of like, I know what I'm doing here. I'm finishing this one.
So let's end the Man United fan club section.
Actually, I don't want to, because I wanted to say, juxtapose that with what happened with Lukaku's
I was about to say,
goal.
let's end this Man United fan club section by talking about Romelu Lukaku ending his goal drought.
But I want to talk about that because I think he ended it, but I think he was a little bit fortunate because you compare those two finishes and you're absolutely right that Pogba like strides confidently forward and puts it in there. Whereas Lukaku essentially gets it in a 1v1 situation and does like a double pump fake, and I think is really thinking about how much he wants to score this goal.
And doesn't he kind of go head down and just smash it high into the roof of the net? There was a chance that went over, right?
I saw somebody describe it as when you almost overhit the shot in FIFA. Like you hold the button just a little bit too long and it still goes in, and you're like, yeah, I meant to do that. Yeah, that's fine.
Because you were playing with Barcelona and you were shooting with Luis Suarez, and his accuracy is very high.
Yes. Yeah. So it is good that he breaks that scoreless drought. I did enjoy my final thing on this game was the return of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. For those who are wondering what would happen when Zlatan came back, you got your answer. Because he came on the field, Lukaku came over, Zlatan said something, and Lukaku like went to the channel, and that was that.
I understand why you would be celebrating that, but this is a problem for the future, right? Because Mourinho is not going to play two forwards. No. Lukaku is, I think, can play on the right wing, but is going to be less happy, less effective. Yeah. Right? I mean, this is a future problem, I think.
We'll see. We'll see. I think right now the chemistry is so good that it seems like they're all just kind of, at least on the day, everybody seemed happy to be playing with each other.
But they were 4-1 up already, right? So it's kind of an easy stroll to do that. Like what I'm worried about is a future where, Lukaku starts, probably because he's fitter than Zlatan right now, right? Yeah. And like you get 70 minutes in, and then the record's like, we want Zlatan, and they bring him in, and you could see that like, maybe having a weird confidence effect.
Yeah, but isn't that the nature of the beast when you have one striker? I mean, isn't that the same thing when like was it Janssen that Tottenham signed, who was supposed to be the backup to Harry Kane, but like he did not, but like if he catches form and is really good, suddenly are you like, well, now what do we do? This is a problem. It's like, no, you've got two good strikers. I take your point though that the difference here is that it's Zlatan who is not arrogant. So I think in those moments you do wonder, like, is he going to be okay to sit on the bench when Lukaku starts, or is he going to be like, but I'm better than him, I should be starting?
Yeah, we could end up with Lukaku on the right wing for at least one big game where like you can't leave one of them out, and so Lukaku ends up out wide.
You could go 4-4-2. That's very Jose.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, should we move on?
Sure.
Elsewhere in the Premier League, I want to say thumbs up to Callum Wilson and Ashley Barnes for proving you don't have to be an expensive striker to score big goals in the Premier League.
Alrighty.
So Callum Wilson scored a hat-trick for Bournemouth as they beat
Huddersfield.
They beat 4-0 Huddersfield 4-0. He cost £3 million from Coventry City in 2014. Meanwhile, Ashley Barnes...
$3 million more than Zlatan, that's all I'm saying.
Well, I bet his wages are slightly lower.
Exactly the same.
Ashley Barnes scored 2 goals in Burnley's 2-0 win over Swansea. He cost a reported £1.2 million from Brighton in 2014. So these are sort of, I don't know, just players proving that you don't have to be £70 million strikers to score goals in the Premier League.
Yes. I think the Callum Wilson, is it Colin Wilson?
Callum,
that's what I thought. Yeah. I thought his was especially impressive given the situation in that game, which is why I have thumbs down to Huddersfield for not understanding how red cards work. Because they went 2-0 down, then Bournemouth got a red card.
Yeah, Simon Francis was sent
second
off.
Yellow to Simon Francis.
Right before half-time.
And then Huddersfield lost 4-0. And they made adjustments.
Yeah, they did. I can't remember the name of the striker that came on, but they took Danny Williams off at half-time. Because I think the thinking was, all right, we're 2 down. Yeah. We don't need this extra defensive midfielder. Let's get a striker on. I wish I could remember his name. But yeah, the goals just kept on coming.
They did.
Bournemouth 4, Huddersfield 0. Can I give a special shout out as well to Joshua King for his assist to Callum Wilson to give Wilson the hat-trick? It is something special. Have you seen this? So Joshua King gets it sort of near the touchline in the box.
Oh, yes.
Huddersfield players converge on him.
Yep.
And you know he wants to shoot, but instead he just kind of rolls the ball back and forth a couple of times, draws them all in, and then releases it to Callum Wilson, who's free to score.
And that's like, I call that like
good teammating.
It was. I call that like a congestion smash because he hits it, but it's not that sort of like top of the box, no one's around him, just thumps it in. Like there are people, he's running onto it towards people with a player marking him. It makes that finish all the more impressive.
Oh yeah.
I will say, I know there are not many Huddersfield fans listening. There might be one.
There's maybe one.
But I'm going to say thumbs down to the officials for this game, only because any time that you sort of find yourself watching the game and be like, wait, why did he call that? Wait, what are they doing now? Wait, hold on, is this a drop ball? It means the official isn't doing his or her job. Because if you don't have a clear idea of what's happening in the game with some of the calls that are being made, then I feel like that's the official not really stamping their authority on this one. Okay. And really there were some problems, starting with the fact that Florent Haderjanai is what I'm going to pronounce that one as. He got wrecked by Charlie Daniels. Probably should have been a yellow card. Definitely should have been a foul. No foul given. So Haderjanai remains down. Bournemouth go back down, get a corner kick. They score off that corner. Haderjanai isn't allowed to come back onto the field to defend that corner because he required treatment. Ooh. So that doesn't go well. The second goal for this one came from a free kick. They were offside on that one. So there were a couple missed calls, and it felt like a couple moments when a player went down and the ref just... There was one instance when the player goes down, the referee called a halt to the game, and then the player was just like, yeah, I'm okay. And he's like, okay, I guess drop ball now. It just felt like maybe some of the rhythm got lost.
You sound like a bitter Huddersfield fan.
I mean, fair is fair, man. You gotta call him where you see him.
You got any thumbs for Liverpool?
Sort of. Okay. In the sense that I have thumbs down. I guess thumbs up to Scott Malone and Dusan Tadic for reminding us all that playing for Spurs, Arsenal, or Manchester City is difficult. Both of those gentlemen attempted to dribble out of their own box, maybe to start a counterattack. Both of them were dispossessed. Both of them ended up conceding goals for their teams, basically.
So, why would you do that against a Jurgen Klopp team?
When you know
the whole goal of a Jurgen Klopp team is to tackle you high up the field, win the ball high, and then go at you. Because, I saw that Salah goal. That starts from that, right? It starts
from Firmino basically being like, I will poke my foot in because you're dribbling across your own box, so thank you. So,
but maybe part of it is... So I didn't see the whole game, I only saw really quick highlights. I'm speculating that maybe part of the Liverpool high pressure makes it hard to pass the ball out. Yeah. And you don't want to kick it long, so your third option is dribble.
I guess
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you panic a little bit and just think, maybe I can do something here.
Yeah, and that's where you've got to remember that, okay, fine. Like if that's the situation, you don't want to kick it long, but maybe there aren't passes on, you dribble towards the touchline. You do not dribble towards the middle of the field. Dusan Tadic is slightly more defensible because at least Mo Salah still has a lot of work to do to make that happen. It's still a beautiful bending shot from distance. The Scott Malone one is just terrible. It's just him trying to dribble out. Like, really is he gets it at the 6, gets dispossessed like right at the top of the penalty box, then sort of like is like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, and gets up and like, and in the process of maybe 3 seconds, the ball's in the back of the net, and he's sort of like, well, it's already 3-0, so it's fine.
This is going to be on the highlight reel.
Yep. Yep.
The equivalent of getting posterized is getting YouTubeized, right?
Pretty much.
Or streamabilized, maybe?
Yeah. That makes sense. I'm with you on that one.
Anything else from the Premier League?
Nothing else from the Premier League, other than I just wanted to say that it was it's one of those things that's difficult when we do thumbs up, thumbs down reviews, was that Liverpool game, because there were lots of like good things about it. Like I thought it was a good comprehensive 3-0 win, but it's tough to say like, oh, here's a thumbs up for this trend or this thing that we can expand more on. It's just like, no, they just were good.
Same for Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
You maybe want to go thumbs up for...
excuse me. I take that back. I thought we'd already done Chelsea. I have lots to say about Chelsea. My bad.
Please enlighten me.
Sure.
It better feature Alvaro Morata's assist, because that's the thing I remember
several times. Because West Brom 0, Chelsea 4. A thumbs up to Alvaro Morata.
Yes.
Got the first goal.
Yep.
Got the assist for Eden Hazard.
Really cleverly.
Drew the foul that led to the free kick that led to the third goal. And for the fourth, basically it's another counterattack. Eden Hazard has the ball. He beats somebody. He's dribbling. Gareth McCauley is tracking Alvaro Morata and basically tracks Alvaro Morata past Eden Hazard, then turns and is like, uh-oh, as Hazard shoots. So he's so focused on tracking Morata that he does not even pay attention to Eden Hazard as he gets set up to shoot.
Thumbs up to McCauley for very, very tight man marking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's that. I also want to say thumbs up to Eden Hazard's incredible Hulk impression, because basically he gets stepped on by Gareth Barry, goes down, no foul given. The entire West Brom crowd starts booing Hazard because they think it's a dive, even though he's noticeably limping. But like moments later, gets the ball, turns Gareth Barry, shoots. That's the ball that's saved, but parried in from Morata to score. Then Hazard scores 2 goals of his own. So it really was sort of like, you won't like me when I'm angry, and now you've made me angry. So I'm going to get 2 goals and an assist. And my final thing for Chelsea is I want to say, while we're going with the superhero theme, thumbs up to Marcos Alonso for briefly turning invisible, because he was absolutely unmarked on that third goal, that free kick. He's just at the back post. And I have to say, credit to him for not making that clear. Because sometimes when you're so open in that attacking position, there is that inclination to be like, I'm open. No one's marking
giving it away, right?
Or one of your teammates is like, hey, no one's marking him, play to the back post. And it's like, shut up. So nobody did that. Alonso was just wide open and stayed wide open, and then finished for that third goal because he was so wide open.
So which superhero would he be if he briefly had the powers of invisibility?
The same one that Maria Bamford is in Arrested Development. The Invisible Woman. Invisible Girl. I forget what she is.
Is that a real superhero?
She's one of the Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay. Brilliant.
Yep.
All right. Mm-hmm. The only thing I could think of was a Harry Potter cloak.
Yes, or H.G. Wells. Could have gone that route too. Right? He wrote The Invisible Man, didn't he?
Yeah, but I don't think that's...
Ralph Ellison as well, but decidedly different themes.
Very, very different.
Yep.
Okay, so before we move on to talk Americans abroad, today's show is sponsored by SeatGeek.
This is true.
SeatGeek are becoming long-time sponsors, so we love ourselves some SeatGeek.
We do. SeatGeek make buying and ticket selling much more easy than it ever was before.
Much more easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all you need is 2 taps.
In my own personal opinion, it's much more easier.
2 taps on your phone. You can buy and sell a ticket to any sporting event, for example, a soccer game, or musical performance, which is what I'm going to call it.
Yep.
Some people say shows. I say musical performance because I'm fancy.
You are fancy.
If you download the SeatGeek app, you really can search through and you can see all kinds of entertainment coming to a town near you. Taylor, you have sort of become the Total Soccer Show person, the co-host in charge of scouting out events for us.
Sure.
So what did you find this time?
Well, I found that there are tickets available for both of the conference finals, both legs of the conference finals in MLS playoffs.
Ooh, yeah.
So those
starting this Tuesday.
Seats still available. Also, 1 ticket available for Toronto to be hosting MLS Cup final.
I saw. I wonder if... I don't know how that's got on there. That's very presumptive. And I would also say, if you're a Columbus fan, if you're not at that home leg this week... then you're really missing out. Because that's going to be the Save the Crew event of the year, right?
I would say so.
Because especially with Giovinco, so I've turned this into an MLS Cup conference final preview.
Fine.
With Giovinco and Josie missing, the best thing you can do
gosh, I forgot about
is
that.
pack out the stadium, get behind the team, see if you can get like a really good, healthy lead to take to Toronto, but also make clear that we support this team and look how many people are here and look how loud we are. And you would be stupid, Major League Soccer, to let us leave.
Hashtag save the crew.
None of the fans want to leave, to let the team leave.
Hashtag thanks to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's show. No, and then I also looked up musical acts as well, because everyone I like is not touring, it seems. But the Coasters and the Drifters are touring together. So if you're all about like 50s, 60s soul.
So the Drifters are Under the Boardwalk?
Mm-hmm. Amongst other things.
Who are the Coasters?
The Coasters?
I honestly don't know.
Yakety Yak, man.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. Don't Talk Back.
Down in Mexico, Poison Ivy, all great songs. Down in Mexico is in Death Proof, the Quentin Tarantino movie.
Okay.
So that's a good introduction for you.
I think I might have already told you this, but Don't Talk Back, is that the name of the song?
Mm-hmm.
That is
Yakety Yak.
Yakety Yak is the theme song to Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yes, that's right.
In the United Kingdom.
Odd.
Yeah.
But sure. Why not?
Odd because the line is Don't Talk Back, which is not how you do improv.
Nope.
I mean, I don't know, but
I mean, yes, and it's not the way you do improv.
Average.
Yes, but they are touring and there are tickets available. So there you go.
Right. So you can do that via SeatGeek. You can also get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Here's what you do. You download the app. You click the settings tab. You enter promo code. And the promo code is TSS. Promo code TSS for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Whether it's the Drifters, the Coasters, or Columbus Crew versus Toronto.
All the same oeuvre.
It's the same family of entertainment.
Yeah. So we've done the Premier League now.
We have done the Premier League.
Shall we move on to other leagues and competitions around the world?
Do you know where you want to go? I know where I want to go.
I want to go to Spain.
All right,
you
let's go to
probably
Spain.
Go to Germany?
Let's go to Spain.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Spain.
Choosing our TSS vacation.
I'm going to say thumbs down to star player effort. Because Atletico drew 0-0 at home with Real Madrid.
The Madrid derby.
It was.
The first one, I believe, at the Metropolitano, the new stadium.
At least in league play, certainly. And it was what you'd expect. It was a very tactical, very emotional game. It was one of those
very
ones,
Diego Simeone.
Yes, exactly. It was one of those ones that kind of proves that 0-0 isn't necessarily a dull game.
Yeah, of course.
At least from the extended highlights that I watched. But I did want to say...
What was in the highlights?
Some of the things that were not in the highlights were some of the reasons why I'm giving this one thumbs down to the star players, because we had, as I showed you before we started recording, there was Ronaldo being outrun by Juan Fran, who then kept the ball in bounds and dribbled back the other way.
Yeah.
While Ronaldo slowly jogged into Atletico's penalty area.
So if I'm recalling this correctly, it's Real Madrid kind of on a break.
I believe again from the corner.
And that, right? So then the ball is sort of ahead of Ronaldo, who's chasing it down, and Juan Fran comes across, intercepts, gets a touch, but kind of, because it's like a desperate kind of poke tackle type thing, overplays it, right? That sounds critical, but you know what I mean? Plays it ahead of himself. So then he goes and runs it down, and Ronaldo doesn't go with it.
It's basically he pokes it away towards Atletico's own corner flag. Juan Fran goes and chases it. And the only thing I can think, except it doesn't make sense because Juan Fran has very clearly kept it in bounds, but it almost looks like Ronaldo is just jogging in to be like, all right, well, we got a corner out of it. That's fine.
I see.
And then they go back the other way.
Maybe. So maybe he underestimated Juan Fran's pace, not once, but twice.
Yes, but that's an outlier. But then you get other pieces in there, like... I got this one from Reddit. A Reddit poster noted that Ronaldo has not made a single tackle or interception this season. He is one of only 6 players in all of La Liga who's played over 100 minutes who has that statistic. That is out of 267 players.
Interesting.
The other 4 of those 6 players are goalkeepers. So, again, note that that means all the other goalkeepers
This is
do
pile
have
on
that
Ronaldo
stat.
night.
A little bit. And then one of those players is a guy who has not yet started a game. So it's basically not great company for Ronaldo to be in. But it's not just Ronaldo, it's also Antoine Griezmann, who was booed off the field by Atletico fans in the final 15 minutes.
What did he do?
Has not scored in 8 games, only has 3 goals on the season, and there has been depending on who you talk to, either he's just in a slump or some people think there is an obvious downturn in effort and energy that maybe reflects his desire to have moved in the summer but chose not to, but maybe now is sort of like, well, I'm here,
so
whatever.
If memory serves, in the summer, he said he wanted to leave, but then Atletico got the transfer ban. So then he said, okay, I'll stay, because if I leave and they can't sign anyone, then they're really in trouble. Right?
Yes, exactly.
So you were saying that he did that, committed to them, at least for a year, and then just sort of thought, oh, I made a huge mistake.
Possibly. Oh, Arrested Development. Yeah, I mean, which is surprising, though, because it still seems like a lot of people think he's going to get a move in January, that basically he was just sticking around until the transfer
Till
ban
they can sign
expired.
Diego Costa.
Yes, but it does stand to reason then that he would continue to work really hard unless maybe there's already a deal in place where he'll move in January, in which case, if you're that club, that doesn't look too good, that it's like, oh, that he's not going to work hard anymore.
Maybe he's just saving himself for his next club.
That could be.
Yeah.
But I think his Atletico teammates have argued instead that, like, no, he's just set the bar so high that when he has that inevitable downturn in form, because you can't score every goal in every game all the time, then it's going to look worse by comparison. Whoever you believe there were moments of questionable effort from both of the star players for both of those teams.
Okay, is that all from Spain?
That's all I got.
All right, can we move to Germany then?
Sure.
I want to give a thumbs up to Schalke coach Domenico Tedesco for #playing the kids.
Yep.
So Schalke beat Hamburg 2-0. They are now second in the Bundesliga behind Bayern Munich. But the starting centre mids for Schalke were 19-year-old American Weston McKennie, who I'm sure if you've listened to the show, you know we are huge fans of McKennie. But next to him, because Leon Goretzka is injured, Max Meyer, who only just turned 22. So Tedesco...
ancient.
And Goretzka is only 22 himself. So absolutely, Tedesco is fully playing his kids and getting rewards for it.
And wearing a smart turtleneck, which I didn't know was a thing anymore.
You shouldn't bring that back as well.
I mean, he did.
He's like, if I can play the kids and do well, maybe I can pull this off.
Yes. I loved everything I saw from Weston McKennie in this game, I have to say.
Yes.
I mean, he was involved in the attack. He was creating chances. He was linking up play, but he was doing his defensive job as well.
I think twice had a really good header again. I don't think he scored for Schalke yet, and I think he kind of has to eventually.
Yeah.
I've noticed a trend from him. He, when there's a set piece, he's the guy that sort of sits at the top of the D, just outside the area, ready for something to fall to him. And eventually he has to bury one of those.
My only concern, though, is that I feel like Schalke fans might get frustrated because his goal-scoring record in terms of goals per game for the United States is slightly better than it is for Schalke.
It's 100%, right? So he was involved in Schalke's...
Senior team, U.S. senior team. Important caveat. Yes?
He was involved in Schalke's first goal, doing some very Weston McKennie things.
Talk about it.
So here's what he does. There's a Schalke attack that breaks down, right? Someone actually tries to play an outside the foot pass to McKennie, who's advancing from central midfield into attacking midfield. It doesn't get there. Hamburg go back the other way. McKennie is on his horse, possibly borrowed it from Man City players.
Yep.
Gets back into his central midfield with his midfield partner, Max Meyer. He sees Meyer make a tackle. I'm not sure who the Hamburg midfielder is, but he kind of reads that the tackles come in, even though he's sprinting, he adjusts his run to collect that loose ball. I've never looked at his stats, but his ball recoveries, I bet, are excellent. Because he's great at getting in your face and tackling you, but he also seems really good at picking up those loose balls when they pop loose.
Yeah.
Then he just plays a very simple pass to Konoplyanka, I think, who charges down the left, I think plays a 1-2, gets fouled in the box, wins the penalty kick.
There we go.
So it's very basic involvement from Weston McKennie, but when you think that he's a 19-year-old American doing very German things, I would say, like very sensible, efficient, midfieldery things, it makes me all the more excited for Weston McKennie.
I would say that's the stuff I would rather see from him as opposed to even like getting an assist or getting a shot and like maybe getting a goal. That's all great, but it's those little moments. We saw those against Portugal as well, right? That it's like he knows like, oh, I need to shade over 1 yard to block that off.
I'm actually kind of frustrated. The highlights of that game, they show McKennie's finish for the US against Portugal, but we were really excited about the way that he wins that ball back to begin with by seeing a passing lane that was too open, closing it down and intercepting the ball and then starting the move. If anything, is the more important stuff.
It's not as sexy, Daryl. It's not as sexy.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. But I mean, but you're right. That I think that was 25% as much fun as the 75% of him scoring the actual goal for the USA.
You're right. Yeah, goal scoring is bad.
Yeah,
right?
Always.
But thumbs up to McKennie and to Tedesco for the work that's been done at Schalke. Big news is, so Schalke are second. There's obviously some catching up to do with Bayern Munich. Next weekend, it's the River Derby.
I scoff at that suggestion. But
it's Dortmund versus Schalke. It's the big derby. It could be Christian Pulisic versus Weston McKennie. We could finally get that game.
Yeah, I think we probably will. My question is, who will be in charge of Dortmund? Because I have
Still Peter Bosz.
You think so?
Yeah.
You don't think there's anybody maybe starting to get a little bit concerned about what's happening there?
I mean, yes, but I'm not sure he'll get fired this early in the season.
Remember that time when they were top of the table and looking really good? Things have changed.
That was early days, right?
Yeah, that was before he decided to continue to stick with Roman Berkey.
Yeah, speaking of, thumbs down to Roman Berkey, who I contend was at fault for both goals as Dortmund lost 2-1 to Stuttgart. Mm-hmm. That first goal, I think we tweeted this, right? So people might have seen it, or it may have just been one of those viral things around the internet. There's a ball played through by Stuttgart. It is the striker, whose name is Akolo, Shadrack Akolo, is offside. So he kind of gives up on the run. Marc Bartra, centre-back for Dortmund, collects the ball. Roman Berkey comes charging out as if he's going to collect it off of him, and then Bartra plays it into Berkey, bounces off of him, and then Akolo just has an empty net to walk the ball into. It looks like an absolute disaster.
It does. I would argue that this is a situation in which both Bartra and Berkey are wrong, but they're also both right, which is a strange thing. Because I think Berkey recognizes the striker's name was
Akolo.
That Akolo is offside, cannot make a play on the ball, so Berkey can run out, pick that ball up without any pressure on.
Because Akolo can't challenge
and then everybody can get reset, then play can resume. But I think Bartra doesn't realize that Akolo's offside, or that at the very least it could be a problem, so he tries to play it back to Berkey. And this is a situation in which, like, you understand why Bartra did what he did, you understand why Berkey did what he did, but they're both so laughably wrong because of how this ends up working out, which is that Bartra kind of slams it into the shins of Berkey, and then we end up with a goal.
Yep, because then Akolo can just be like, all right, I guess I'm onside now. I can just walk this in.
Yikes.
The second goal.
I think I have to say this, sorry. I think the most painful thing about that was that Berkey doesn't even get up before he starts yelling at Bartra. He has fallen over onto his stomach and just kind of like does like the Superman yoga pose where he's like got all the hands in the air and is looking at Bartra like, what have you done to me?
And at this moment, Akolo is still dribbling towards goal. They just know there's no catching him, so there's no point running back.
Yeah, but it's like, at least stand up before you start yelling at people, man. It doesn't look quite as strong otherwise.
Worth noting, Christian Pulisic had a muscle problem. I believe it was reported, was on the... Sorry, not even in the matchday squad, was just sitting on the bench, but not in the squad.
Talking to Peter Bosz?
For this,
I saw that.
Yeah, he was, right? Maybe about possible moves?
Yeah, maybe. But so we've talked about that first goal. We got to get to the second goal, though.
Yeah. Actually, I don't have who scored it, but it goes through Berkey's legs.
Yes. It's basically a shot through traffic, so I think in his defense, Berkey maybe sees it late, but it still hits him and goes in the goal. Maybe megs him. We're not quite sure. I'm pretty sure it does, though.
The one upside for Berkey is this time he didn't get beat at the near post.
Okay. I was like, this. I'm 99% sure this is going to be a sarcastic upside.
Is he as bad as we keep seeing in the highlights, or are we just seeing the lowlights? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
He seems to keep keeping his job at one of the biggest teams out there.
I think, like, any time you start to spot trends, when something happens, you're going to look to see if that trend continues.
True.
And even if it
but
doesn't...
these are hard to miss.
Yeah, I mean, this was two bad sequences for sure. But you know what I mean? That, like, once a goalkeeper gets beat at his near post once or twice and you spot it, every time he gets beat, whether or not it's been, like, 3 or 4 weeks or 3 or 4 games since the last time that happened, or 5 games or whatever, you're going to be like, oh, got beat again. And it becomes kind of the narrative.
I think the other thing is, I checked at Dortmund's bench, the only other keeper who's senior enough is Weidenfeller, I believe, who's like 37, 38, and it seems like he's there. He's a long-time Dortmund player who's there very much as a backup, so it would be a big move to go back to the old guy.
I'm just saying, Christian Pulisic knows another goalkeeper. In the family.
Yeah, Will Pulisic is the Pulisic cousin.
Is he he's actually at Dortmant, isn't he?
He's at Duke University right now. I checked this today. Yeah, he's played for Dortmund.
Were you wondering this exact same thing?
Yep, I wondered
we spent too much time together.
I did wonder if maybe this was an opportunity for him, but he's gone to Duke. Yeah.
Stupid. Getting an education from a good university.
Also in Germany, Bobby Wood. We didn't mention him in the Schalke Hamburg game. He did come off the bench and not really do anything.
That is such a good descriptor for Bobby Wood of late. Also in Germany is Bobby Wood.
Yeah, it's a rough old time.
And then ... Yeah.
So I think we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, his coach said he's a good player, but he's in a bad spot.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he did come off the bench, again, worryingly. I think it's Alp is the youngster who's starting ahead of him now.
Yeah.
And he did look good and did create chances and did cause problems. Bobby Wood did not come in for him. So it does seem like maybe Bobby Wood, for at least the foreseeable future, is going to be that substituted off the bench who can hopefully change things or help change
We're
things.
We're 2-0 down. Let's try Bobby Wood. Yeah, that's where we're at, isn't it?
Slightly disappointing.
Yep. But, so, next week again, I think it's 9:30 a.m. Saturday morning. I'm going to assume it's on Fox Sports 1. At the very worst, it's on Fox Sports 2. It's Borussia Dortmund hosting Schalke. This is a big deal because it really is the derby in that part of Germany, and it's Pulisic on one team against McKennie on the other. I'm really excited to see them go up against each other.
I hope they do.
It's like when your two superheroes go up against each other, like when Iron Man fights Thor or something. Did that happen in the Avengers? I feel like it did.
I feel like you could have gone Captain America, and that would have been the obvious one.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know who's who in that situation, but either way.
Let's not worry about mapping this out.
You don't think so? I feel like this is something we need to get to the bottom of. And maybe I feel that way because I'm padding it out, because I don't have anything else. Do you have any more thumbs up, thumbs down for the weekend?
I do.
Ooh.
It's in Liga MX.
Oh, interesting.
I want to say...
Who could it possibly be about?
Thumbs up to soccerway.com.
Oh, that's right. I forgot
changing Jonathan Gonzalez's flag from Mexico to the United States. Somebody's had a word, or someone at Soccerway has noticed what's going on.
So I have to say, I love you, Daryl Grove, because this was going to be my thumbs up, thumbs down. You reminded me that this was going to be my thumbs up, thumbs down. I forgot, so you did it.
I gave you two chances.
You did. But I remember, I think previously he had a Mexican flag next to his name. I think it actually may have changed right around the time the rumors of him playing for Mexico came out, because I remember, I think, tweeting it like, no, it's okay. He still has the American flag next to his name. But it definitely used to have a Mexican flag. I know other websites still list him as a Mexican player.
Yep.
So that makes me happy, but it also makes me happy given what he did this weekend.
Yeah, so one of the reasons he could not be called up by the United States for the friendly against Portugal, or that essentially that Monterrey, his club team, did not want him called up, is that this weekend Monterrey played Tigres.
Well, I think it was both. I think they had a game on the 8th, which I think is like a day after he would have been reporting. So he could have reported late, but then he would have come late, then he would have played, then he would have had to come back for this game. So it was double.
But this game was one of the reasons, and this game is very important. It's Monterrey versus Tigres. It was number 1, Monterrey, with 2 points ahead of Tigres on the final match day of the regular season. It's also, I didn't know this because of my ignorance of Mexican soccer, it's a derby. It's called Clásico Regiomontano.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know what that means.
It means the Clásica of the region Montaña.
It means something. We probably should have looked it up before we started recording.
I mean, I would guarantee that that's what it means. I just don't know. What was the last part? Montaña?
Regiomontano.
I'm going to guess something like that.
Okay.
Reggio, it could be king. I don't know.
So, essentially, Monterrey had to not lose this game. They just went and won it 2-0.
Well, there you go.
Big win for Monterrey over Tigres. It secures first spot now that the Apertura, I believe, is closed. And now the playoffs will start, I think, next week or so. I looked just before recording. There was one more game to go. I didn't know if it affected the table or not, but I think Monterrey will play Atlas in the first round of the Liga MX playoffs.
And to sum all this up, do you mind?
Yeah.
I was going to say at one point that you also made was that if you look at that Tigres team, that is not a team.
It's quite a team.
I mean, you've got Andre Pergignac in there. You've got Eduardo Vargas on the bench. The Chilean forward who
the
we all know and
wingers.
love.
The wingers were Jürgen Damm and Javier Aquino, so two Mexican national team players. This is a really serious Tigres team. Monterrey went with an 18-year-old American teenager at defensive midfield, Jonathan Gonzalez, and beat them 2-0. Great stuff. Not only that, I don't know if we can find the highlight of this because it wasn't well captured by the camera. Gonzalez had an incredible moment where he tackles a Tigres player. I think the name is Rodriguez. He tackles him and does a roulette in the same move. So it's number 28 for Tigres, has the ball. Gonzalez comes charging in, steps into him, relieves him of the ball, spins in that Zidane roulette move, and then plays a through ball for Hurtado, puts him through on goal, 1-on-1 with the Tigres keeper. Tigres keeper and Hurtado have a collision, and then that becomes the focus of all the video replays and all that sort of stuff. So somehow Gonzalez's tackle roulette, which I've never seen before, literally never seen before.
I think it's actually a surprisingly effective way to tackle, and I'm not saying that sarcastically.
Really?
Because if you can do it, if you can gauge it well enough that you're actually going to put your foot on the ball to do the roulette, it's either going to lead to you keeping the ball or you getting fouled. Because it's going to be you coming in at pace and doing that, and then getting shoved off the ball. And because you're doing something graceful, it's going to look like you've been fouled.
I don't think so. And it was really like weirdly in the corner of the screen and was never replayed. It's not foot on top of the ball roulette. It's like foot around the ball, and then you do that centrifugal thing where you spin and take the ball with you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm with you.
So actually, probably roulette is the wrong word, but that's the move that he does, where you step in and then he spins and takes the ball with him.
The shuffleboard spin.
The shuffleboard.
Sure.
Like the centrifugal spin. It's really good, right? So great stuff from Gonzalez. And then he was classic Jonathan Gonzalez in that he was all over every Monterrey player whenever they had the ball, right? That's the thing that we see from him. He's just in your face or snapping at your heels every time you try and play the ball. He is a nightmare to play against.
Yep, and that's why we're happy that he has an American flag next to his name.
Yes, he certainly does. Thank you, Soccerway. He also, I mean this sincerely, he has given me a way in to Liga MX that I've been searching for like 2 years.
Really?
And for whatever reason, like Edgar Castillo or Jose Francisco Torres, it wasn't quite doing it for me. Like they weren't sort of potentially central US national team players enough for me to be like, oh, I've got to watch them every week.
I would say,
I
think the last time maybe we had somebody like that was maybe Joe Corona when he was still kind of undecided, or maybe Ventura Alvarado back when we were like, oh, he's starting for America and like maybe he's going to be the next big thing.
And he wasn't that good.
No, but I'm with you. It has kind of been the case that the players who are in Mexico are players we like or are interested in, but either they're not like mainstays with the U.S. national team or they're not mainstays with their Mexico team, that we don't always know if they're going to be starting.
Yeah, and Jonathan Gonzalez is starting every game so far. Yeah, knock on wood. Good way. But really, I'm going to watch the playoffs now because I want to see how Jonathan Gonzalez and Monterrey do. I might even find out what Rayados means.
Sure.
And I'm going to find out what that derby's all about.
Yep.
I'm going to do my research after the show.
That sounds good.
Yeah, perfect. So thumbs up to Jonathan Gonzalez.
Yep.
Any other thumbs on today's show, Tyler, before we move on?
I think that's about it for me.
I got one.
What you got?
Final one of the day.
Yep.
I saved it till last because I'm going to give it a slow walk up because that's what Diego Perotti did in the Rome derby, the Derby della Capitale, I believe it's called. So Roma beat Lazio 2-1. The first goal came from a Diego Perotti penalty where he literally slowly walked up to the ball in the middle of a Rome derby, which is so tense, and scored.
And I think
I have never seen a high stakes penalty with a walk up instead of a run up.
Or if you do, it doesn't always go well. But in this situation, I think he does it where he doesn't ever change the speed. So he then doesn't try to run fast at the end. He doesn't really try to put a ton of power behind it. It's basically, I'm going to watch you, the goalkeeper, the entire way.
That's why he does
it. And as soon as I spot what I think you're going to do, I make my decision, and then I play the ball where I want it to go, and that's exactly what he does.
So he does it slowly because the goalkeeper has lots of time to react first, and then Perotti can take advantage of it.
Yeah, because I think if a goalkeeper feints left and dives right, you might, if you're running up to it and you see that feint left, you might think, oh, then I should put it to the goalkeeper's right, but that's what he wants you to do. But if you do that slow walk up and you watch the keeper the whole way, and he feints left and then feints left again, I feel like that might then be that's a double feint left. I feel like you want to dive left. I'm going to put it to your right. And maybe that is the correct decision that time.
So Perotti scores. I think Nangolan scores the second one. So it finishes 2-1 to Lazio. Sorry, to Roma. I nearly ruined the Rome derby.
That would have been a problem.
2-1
You
to
should
Roma.
get those two straight.
I definitely should, yeah. And I did. So, thumbs up to Diego Perotti.
One is Wolves, one is an Eagle, I think.
Yes.
Lazio have one of the Eagles of the Falcons that fly around the stadium.
Yeah, definitely.
I think they bought one off Benfica, I think. Is that how that worked? I believe so. I think Benfica had 3.
Speaking of Benfica, do they feature in scouting reports?
I don't think they do, actually.
Okay, so since they don't, we should mention that Keaton Parks came off the bench for Benfica and got his sort of Benfica first team debut. He's a young American playing for Benfica in Portugal.
We should also add that we had about 18 scouting reports. Here are 8 of them, so he might be in the scouting reports for, say, tomorrow's show.
A lot of reports came in as we were sort of getting ready to record, so we couldn't include them all. But we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 scouting reports ready to go.
Yep. Up first, Brian Watley, cousin of Tim. I made that up. Scouting Sergio Diaz, 19-year-old Paraguayan forward on loan at CD Lugo. Lugo, I'm not sure how you pronounce that one, from Real Madrid. News in Spain suggests that Sergio has suffered a meniscus/cruciate ligament tear as a second-half sub in Lugo's game against Numancia last Sunday. He's set for season-ending surgery on December 5th, having played 8 games this season for Lugo in La Liga 2, as well as 2 games in the Copa del Rey.
All right, so we're starting on a downer. A
little bit.
Let's hope things get better for our young talents as the scouting reports continue.
Spoiler alert, they do.
Mike Spinelli is scouting George Bello, the 15-year-old American left-back for Atlanta United. You may have heard the little audio drop I did for George Bello on our questions show. Mike says, Top Draw Soccer released its ranking of the top 150 players for the boys class of 2020, and Atlanta United homegrown George Bello is number 1, numero uno. With Atlanta starting a USL side in 2018, I forgot about that, It's just a matter of months before we likely start seeing him get pro minutes. That Atlanta team will play against Richmond, won't it?
They will.
So there's a chance we'll get to see George Bello in Richmond.
And I think actually Mike spelled out exactly the sequence he wants to see, but it involves Andrew Carlton and Chris Goslin as well. All combining
playing,
for a goal, basically.
All playing for Atlanta United's USL team.
And I'm terrified.
I'm hoping that maybe not from a kicker's perspective, because we don't want to see Carlton up against the kickers again, because he kind of hurt them last time. But maybe we see that trio. No, Bello's too young, right? But maybe we see Carlton and Goslin bounce back and forth between the new USL team and maybe the Atlanta United first team and get some minutes.
Yeah, I'll take that.
More than the 4 minutes Carlton got this year.
I will definitely take that. Will C and Alex M are both scouting Cameron Carter-Vickers, a 19-year-old American center back, on loan at Sheffield United from Tottenham.
He's so important, we got 2 scouts on him.
Yeah, the man so important we named him twice?
Yeah,
sure.
We scouted him
Cameron, Carter, Vickers. Both of our scouts emailed in to let us know about CCV's glorious assist in United's 3-1 win over Burton Albion on Friday. It was a beautiful ball that was finished by proper Englishman, I added that one, Billy Sharp.
It's like an old-fashioned English name.
Yep, and helped temporarily, keyword there, put Sheffield United on top of the championship table.
Oh, so this was on the Friday, but then Wolves beat Reading 2-0.
They sure did.
The Saturday, Wolves are still top. Was this deliberate? So the video footage that exists of this is from a not great angle, right? So you can't quite see what Cameron Carter-Vickers is going for. But it seems to me either he threads the needle through multiple Burton players and bypasses one of his own players, or he's aiming for one player and it goes beyond him and goes through to Billy Sharp.
Yeah. Maybe this is probably homerism, but I'm inclined to say that he played the ball he meant to play. Okay. I think if you look at how hard he hit that ball, it did bypass one of his teammates, but I think if it hadn't, I don't think that teammate would have been able to control that pass.
Oh, so you're saying he hit it so hard that it can't have been for the first guy because it would have been a too heavy pass?
Sure. If you're making me go absolutes, I will say it could not have been for the first guy. Had to be for Billy Sharp.
So CCV playing the ball out of the back, getting assists.
Sharply played a sharp ball for Billy Sharp to sharply finish.
Craig Allison is scouting Jack Harrison, the 20-year-old English winger at NYC FC. Craig says Jack finished his second season with NYCFC by being named Goal.com's MLS U21 Player of the Year. Finished the season with 10 goals. He only got 4 in his debut season. Unfortunately, he was unable to convert 2 good scoring opportunities in the season-ending playoff game against the Columbus Crew. Jack's strong season and England under-21 call-ups have generated transfer rumours to Premier League sides Everton, Leicester and Brighton and Hove Albion. I say stay with NYCFC. Keep getting those minutes, Jack Harrison.
Yeah, I think...
he gets swallowed by Premier League.
It's really weird because Everton right now have such instability that I wouldn't go there. Leicester,
and there's plenty of teenagers in that team already, right?
Leicester have like enough going on that they're not going to want to play teenagers. Brighton and Hove Albion focused on staying up. They're probably not going to want to play teenagers, even though Jack Harrison is a 20-year-old. They're not going to want to play youngsters. So I say stay where you are. My
guess is a lot of lazy English tabloids saw that. Had never heard of Jack Harrison till he was called up for the England under-21s. So they start sort of just linking him with Premier League teams who have a Jack Harrison-shaped hole. Sure. I like that. Ira Jersey scouting Ashley Sanchez, 18-year-old American attacker for UCLA. Ooh, are we in the college tournament now? We are indeed. Ashley got the primary assist. Remember, Ira is... Primary and secondary assists. Yep. Yes. Yeah. Primary assist in UCLA's 93rd minute golden goal game winner over Northwestern Friday night to make the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. After taking 28 shots during regular time, the UCLA breakthrough came when Ashley collected the ball near the center circle and played a perfectly weighted through ball, a la Cameron Carter-Vickers, to an on-the-run Annika Rodriguez, who slotted it low past the keeper. Next is Virginia, who UCLA beat 1-0 earlier in the year. That game is on Sunday night. It kicked off at 9 p.m. We've been doing work since they kicked off, so we don't know. All right. Jonathan Holmgren is scouting Alex Iwobi. This is a weird Schrodinger's cat situation. They're either in or out of the tournament. Yeah, exactly. Alex Iwobi is being scouted by Jonathan Holmgren. Iwobi is a 21-year-old Nigerian winger at Arsenal. Jonathan says Iwobi had a 6-minute cameo plus 4 minutes of stoppage time, so 10 minutes total, in Arsenal's 2-0 North London derby victory. Iwobi's first touch was woefully mishit and nearly led to a Spurs goal. He did have a couple more promising attacking opportunities, so all in all, not a bad 10-minute cameo.
Guy Yedweb scouting Serge Gnabry, 22-year-old wide attacker on loan at Hoffenheim from Bayern Munich. After missing a few weeks due to injury, Gnabry was called off the bench perhaps a little earlier than Julian Nagelsmann would have liked to provide an assist for Hoffenheim's 92nd minute equalizer.
All right, Gnabry.
He did not look off the pace at all, bombing up and down Hoffenheim's left side. For the assist, he latched onto a ball down the channel, cut twice to skip past 2 defenders, and put a short pass into the box to Mark Ulf, I'm not sure, to finish. Mark also dislocated his knee in the process of finishing that goal.
Ooh, so one injury back, one out again? One in, one out.
If you're keeping track, Daryl, let the record show that I do not want to have a dislocated knee.
Yes.
I don't know if you knew that, but I just want that clear.
Samesies.
Okay.
Stephen Brandt, whose Yellow Card Pod we just appeared on before recording today's episode. If you want to catch that, go find Yellow Card Pod at Blog Talk Radio. Is scouting Christian Pavón, the 21-year-old Argentinian winger at Boca Juniors. And the Argentina national team.
This is true.
Because, Stephen says, during the international break, Christian got his first ever cap when he came on as a second-half sub against Russia. He had an unofficial assist in that one. I saw this. Pavón squares it. Aguero has a shot sort of blocked. Then Aguero scores his own follow-up. This is Aguero being greedy and not wanting to give anyone else credit for his goal.
Sure.
But then Pavón got his first official assist for the national team in the 4-2 loss to Nigeria.
He assisted Sergio Aguero.
Did he? So, yeah. He was feeling more generous that
Yeah,
day.
sure.
He'd had that digi-spell probably, right? Argentina manager Jorge Sampaoli praised the youngster's efforts and indicated he could play an important role for the Argentinian national team. Okay, so now the scouting network race is on for Pavón to make the Argentina squad for the World Cup. Because Pavón's definitely a bubble player, right? If he's just sort of just made his debut, he's a domestic Boca Juniors player, he's only 21. It's really sort of, you're on the outside, but with a small chance of making the World Cup squad.
Who did you try to claim got the TSS bump last week?
Keaton Parks.
There it is.
We put him in the scouting network.
Yeah.
1 week later, he was at Benfica B when he went in the network. 1 week later, he's coming off the bench playing for the Benfica first team.
There we go.
Definitely the TSS scouting network bump.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Benfica was sort of like, oh, they must rate him over there. Let's get him on.
So if you're a young player playing abroad and you want to get in the scouting network, it's just a low fee of $10,000.
Yeah, it worked for Christian Pavón.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I will thank you to Brian, Mike, Will, Alex, Craig, Ira, Jonathan, Guy and Stephen for today's scouting reports. I still have assignments to do. We've had so many people sign up for the scouting network. I'm kind of underwater in terms of trying to assign all these players, but I'm enjoying doing it.
But we've got a holiday break.
We do have a holiday break. Yeah, I could spend my holiday doing that. Great.
Yeah.
All right. I actually probably will spend the Friday doing that. Go to totalsoccershow.com/join if you would like to support the show and add to the list of people that I need to send scouting assignments to. If you want your scout you're the scout. If you want your player as soon as possible, email me, Daryl, DARYL at totalsoccershow.com. Let me know you're waiting. I will get the player to you. Not literally, just via email. All right. All that remains to say is you over there, Taylor Rockwell. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
You over there?
You over there.
That's how we part this?
Taylor Rockwell.
You know what? It's been fine.
Listeners, thank you for listening. I'll apologise to Taylor after the show, and we'll be back later this week.